As the sun rises over the pyramids, a new dawn in African gymnastics. For the first time ever at the setting of the Cairo International Stadium, a full podium set up for the Cairo World Cup. This is a first ever moment in this continent, but it won't be the last. This is an ambitious place. This is the Cairo International Stadium. It's in a beautiful part of the world and it's going to host a fantastic gymnastics competition over the next several hours. We've got a lot to come. 5 finals taking place. The conclusion of the FIG Artistic Gymnastics World Cup calendar. But it's absolutely clear that in this land of antiquity, in this land of ancient civilization, the future is the focus for African gymnastics. The Egyptian Gymnastics Federation are excited to be hosting this World Cup once again. And as I said earlier, for the first time with a full podium. It really looks magnificent. So we're going to be bringing you the women's vault and uneven bars finals and the men's floor, pommel horse and rings competitions. Lots to enjoy before tomorrow. We think about things like the balance beam, the horizontal bar, the parallel bars and the women's floor final. The men's vault as well will take place tomorrow. And all of it in this fantastic setting of the Cairo International Stadium. There's a very distinctive look to the Cairo World Cup. It's unlike any other FIG World Cup event. They've taken great pains to give it this strong sense of identity, and the gymnasts have spoken really enthusiastically about being here, how much they enjoy participating in this event. We welcome out onto the stage the finalists in the men's floor competition. Adam Koga of Algeria, Justin Lebreau of France. 7th and 6th best in qualification respectively. We have some gymnasts here who've got great track records in FIG World Cup competitions and indeed in just about all the competitions out there. There is Nazar Ciperni, for example. Noah Seifert of Switzerland, an Olympian. Niels Dunkel. Gentleman who competed at his 2nd Olympic Games in Paris. And there's no surprise that this is the top performer in qualification, Milad Karimi of Kazakhstan, the bronze medalist at the World Championships in 2023, and somebody who has had an excellent season in World Cup competition. Now, by the looks of things, we have a change to proceedings with Yuri Yemelyanov coming in as the first reserve. And how fitting that we start with Adam Koga of Algeria on a day where we have 7 African finalists competing at the Cairo International Stadium. Shortly to come, the men's floor final. That will get us underway. We'll then have the women's vault and pommel horse finals simultaneously, and the women's uneven bars and the men's still rings finals side by side too. So here are the first 4 gymnasts who'll go in this men's floor final. As I mentioned earlier, we'll begin with Adam Koga of Algeria, then Justin Lebreau of France. First time in a World Cup final for Justin Lebreau. Really special moment. We've got a lot of gymnasts who are making their first appearance in World Cup finals, including a young gymnast from Egypt in the women's competition. And we have there Yuri Yemelyanov, who has come in as the first reserve, the 17-year-old Ukrainian who made the floor final at the Baku World Cup. Great experience in the veteran Bulgarian Eddie Penev. The top performer in qualification for this men's floor final, Milad Karimi, but there can't be any surprise about that. He was the gymnast who won the title in Cottbus. He really has had a fantastic World Cup season. Eddie Penev won the bronze medal in this event in 2024. It's great to see some gymnasts who are appearing at their first World Cup competition since the Olympic Games, like Niels Dunkel. We've seen it throughout the season, returning athletes. It's one of the really special features, actually, of these World Cup events. After an Olympic year and at the start of a brand new code of points, you see gradually, step by step, some of the favourites from the previous Olympiad marking their return to international competition. And we have gymnasts who are really appearing on our radar at international level for the first time. Adam Koga of Algeria, born in Levallois-Perret in France. He's 22. He made his World Cup debut earlier this year in Antalya in Turkey. Formerly a French gymnast, now competing for Algeria, just regrettably not quite coming out of that fully rotated. Better looking pike position, that was nice. Lots of power. He scored 13.033 in the preliminary round, the 7th best. A nice, elegant looking arabesque. Yes, he's certainly comfortable with his pike positions. Again, it's difficulties in the tuck position at the conclusion for Adam Koga, just as was the case at the start. But a lot to really enjoy about this young man's work. And a special moment for him as he makes his maiden bow in a World Cup final. He's been a junior Mediterranean Championship medalist. He's been a national finalist in France at under 18 level. So certainly a young man of real pedigree. Doing well in his twisting work to start with, keeping the heels together. Just skids off the back of the feet as he lands. Quite a bit of knee bend in the pike position there. That will carry some execution losses. Decent, consistent clearance in the Wendeschwings. As I mentioned earlier, wonderful that we've got 7 finalists representing African nations today. In this, the inaugural World Cup to be held in this continent. And I can tell you it's a reasonably cool day in Cairo for this time of the year. Not hugely hot. Temperatures have been around the mid-20s. The score is 11.733 for Adam Koga. He's lost a couple of tenths of difficulty, but the lion's share has come in execution deduction, so he's down by about a mark and a third from the preliminary stage. This is 20-year-old Justin Lebreau of France, from Rouen. First time he's participated in a World Cup final. Very nice young gymnast, and unfortunately he has a similar issue as Koga on the opening tumbling pass. Good stability in the mandatory scale. Nice and poised going up into handstand. Good basic work. Just as was the case with Adam Koga, this is a performance that's growing in stature as he goes through it. Well, huge congratulations to Justin Lebreau, first time in a World Cup final. He trains in Normandy, lovely part of France. Very accomplished skier when he's not in the training gym. Aspirations of becoming a teacher as well. Somebody with a very keen interest in the development of youngsters. Certainly he will be down from the 13.155 that he received in qualifying. But it's a memorable moment for any gymnast who gets to the televised final stage of World Cup competition for the first time. It's 12.166 for Justin Lebreau, so he is down by about a mark from qualification for obvious reasons. A couple of good young gymnasts to get us started, and we're carrying on in that vein. This is Yuri Yemelyanov of Ukraine. He's in as the first reserve for Niccolò Vannucchi of Italy. Qualification score 12.866. He was a finalist on floor at the Baku World Cup earlier this year. So we are seeing some issues with the opening tumbling passes. Had so much power there that he didn't quite manage to stay in bounds. Much better, got good height. Tuck mucking around with effectiveness. No issues with his balance. And unfortunately, quite a big tumble out of bounds at the conclusion. Well, he wasn't expecting to be initially in this final, Yuri Yemelyanov. There's no doubt that he's a really good young prospect for the Ukrainian team. And these sorts of occasions, these World Cup competitions, very beneficial. For him, it's just about getting out there on the World Cup circuit on a regular basis, getting into more finals, getting used to consistently delivering his routines. And we've seen in World Cup competition this season quite a few good young Ukrainian prospects coming through. It is, as you can see, a sizable arena. Gymnasts have got quite a walk to get to the area where they receive their results. And the whole thing has really been transformed by the creation of the full podium setup. It's lent a real touch of class, actually, to the whole competition. .633 for Yuri Yemelyanov. So that is regrettably a drop of 2.2 or thereabouts from qualifying. Now, certainly somebody who one would expect to contend coming up next. Great performer on this apparatus. The bronze medalist from last year's Cairo World Cup, Eddie Penev of Bulgaria. A gentleman who we've seen re-emerge on the international stage in his mid-30s. Good, powerful opening tumbling pass. 13.633 in qualification, one of the best scores. But really a case of so far so good for the Bulgarian. He's on course to go quite comfortably into the lead. Just takes a moment to set himself for that scale. Touch on the tentative side. But the tumbling really strong from Eddie Penev. What a display that was. Doesn't he know it too? Excellent performance. That is likely to contend for a place on the podium. He made the floor final at the Baku World Cup. He was 6th in Osijek. But as I mentioned earlier, 13.633 in qualification here, the second best score. Some very clean landings were a dominant part of this display. Not huge numbers of execution deductions to come. Straight away, the reaction of an experienced man who knew it had gone very, very well. They will know there's going to be a change to the seating order. Labro leads on 12.166 as things currently stand. Fascinating, isn't it? We've had 3 young athletes come through, and then the veteran just grabs control of this final. Might be better than qualification. Well, he looks absolutely thrilled. He's seen his score come through. I can tell you it's 13.966 for Eddie Penev. And indeed, he is up by 3/10 from the preliminary round, so he's gained about a third of a mark. Execution sharper, difficulty 2 extra tenths, all very accomplished. But you can tell so much, can't you, from the reaction of the gymnasts themselves. Because they know, 99% of the time they know, and I'm sure it's the case for you if you are a competitive gymnast, that you just have a feeling about it the second that the routine is done. That brings us to the halfway stage of this men's floor final. This is who we have to come. Nazar Cheperny, Noah Zeifert, Nils Dunkel and Milad Karimi. Now that performance from Eddie Penev has somewhat set the cat among the pigeons from a scoring perspective, because the only gymnast still to go who scored higher than that in qualification is Milad Karimi, but barely, by a single tenth. So Penev has raised the standard a little compared to qualification. And let's see how others follow. He certainly has the capacity to get onto the podium. Nazar Cheperny of Ukraine, third best in qualification, the score 13.6. He was on the podium in the Baku floor final, the start of the season. Does well to stabilise that landing. Oh, no need to stabilise that. That was bang on. He's had a very compelling season in the World Cups. He's been a medalist on vault, on parallel bars and on floor. Good flares. First gymnast to use those. And a different sort of balance as well, trying to get that extended leg up into the Y position. Now lovely height, really nice height on the final tumbling pass. Nazar Ciperni, 13.6 in qualification. One of many athletes here who competed at the Paris 2024 Games. And again, there's absolutely no doubt that the podium is going to change courtesy of this display, with Justin Lebreau currently second on 12.166 and Adam Koga third on 11.733. He's somebody, Nazar Ciperni, who's been out there on the World Cup circuit for years. It's been such an important part, as it tends to be for Ukrainian gymnasts, in getting him experience for big worldwide competitions like the World Championships, like the Olympiad. So he knows just how vital it is to be coming to these events and producing high-level performances, getting morale-boosting scores, feeling ready as the season goes on. And one imagines he's going to be pretty thrilled about that. 13.866 for Nazar Ciperni, an improvement from qualification of about a quarter of a mark. So Penev holds on to the lead. Noah Seifert from Switzerland, fifth best in qualifying with 13.3. One of the gymnasts who's making a return to international competition at the moment after competing at the Olympics for the first time. What nice control throughout that whole little sequence from the 26-year-old. Good conclusion. He was a little low as he landed, but the pike position very nice, and the control of the landing strong as well. So Noah Seifert, again, you would imagine will be on the podium with 2 to go with a display like that. 3 times he's been the Swiss all-around national champion. Two to go. Niels Dunkel and Milad Karimi. Thirteen 13.966, 13.866, 12.166, 1, 2 and 3 as things stand. And just to remind you that we've still got the top qualifier, Milad Karimi, to come. Wasn't able to compete in the all-around final at the Olympic Games, Noah Seifert, as there were two other Swiss gymnasts positioned above him. And he has scored 13.6. So it is 0.3 higher than qualification, puts him into third place with 2 to go. So it's Penev, Cepeni and Seifert. Niels Dunkel. '28-year-old who competed at the Olympic Games for the second time last summer, where he was 18th in the all-around competition. He's also a youth Olympian from just over a decade ago. Starts well, 8th best in qualification, 13. Based on the difficulty of his qualification routine, the execution will need to be right up there, unless he throws a few little extra surprises in. Doing really well to hold the lion's share of his landings. Didn't necessarily have the crispest form in that final tumbling pass, but a lot that was really accomplished in that display from Niels Dunkel. He made his comeback to international competition at the DTB Pokal, competition that takes place in Germany earlier in the spring. .13.6 plus required to be on the podium, still with the top qualifier to come, Milad Karimi. And we look out over the floor at the Cairo World Cup 2025. Great to have your company. Always great to have his company as well. One of the top World Cup performers about to go. And I hope you're enjoying this competition and enjoying your weekend wherever you're watching from, wherever in the world you call home. And we look back at the performance of Niels Dunkel. .1 was the execution scoring qualification. 4.8 difficulty. Picked up the single 10th bonus. This looked a lot better. Famous last words. We'll see if the score reflects it. Certainly from an execution standpoint, it seemed more compelling than the mark that he received in the preliminary round. Well, yes, the score has come in, 13.466. And look at that execution score, 8.666. He's just missed out on the podium. I said earlier that he would really need enormous execution to contend. Well, he did produce the joint highest execution of anyone in the final, but the difficulty not quite there. Nonetheless, that was lovely gymnastics from Niels Dunkel. And so to Milad Karimi, who scored 14.066 in qualification. If he gets that here, he is the champion in Cairo. It is clear that Eddie Penev has not left him much margin of error. But Milad Karimi is a young man who loves a challenge. And he loves winning World Cup medals. He's getting close to 25. What a quick and controlled move up into the diagonal armed handstand. Very elegant looking twisting. Very nice demonstration of toe point in the balance. Oh, I really got the body tightly into the tuck position, opened out with clarity, and what a nice conclusion to this final from Milad Karimi of Kazakhstan. He's been the overall World Cup champion on floor, and that's why. He's also been on the world podium. Twice in the top 5 at the Olympic Games on this apparatus too, so the pedigree is huge, as is the quality. What he has is crispness to his positions in flight. When he twists, he keeps it sharp and smooth looking. When he does a handstand, he points the toes. When he tucks, then the knees really come into the chest. So Penev 13.966, Cheperny 13.866, Seifert 13.6, Karimi 14.066 in qualification. Has he done it? Won the title on floor in Cottbus, won the title on floor in Doha, bronze in Osijek. He really is having a great start to the new Olympic cycle. It's his. There's the champion, 14.133, Milad Karimi of Kazakhstan. Eddie Penev taking the silver medal. Nazar Cheperny bronze, and Noah Seifert just dropping off the podium right at the conclusion. Wonderful display that from Milad Karimi. Highest execution score. And I go back to that point about the crispness of how his tumbling looks in flight. Bronze to Nazar Cheperny of Ukraine, silver to Eddie Penev of Bulgaria, the gold medal to Milad Karimi of Kazakhstan, the men's floor final in Cairo. Huge congratulations to Milad Karimi on what has been an absolutely fantastic season on this apparatus. And he's not half bad on the horizontal bar either. I mean, he's won Couple of titles there in World Cup competition. .866 for Nazar Ciperni. And how good was he? The oldest gentleman in the final, 13.966 for Bulgaria's Edi Penev. Going one better than he did last year in Cairo. And he certainly gave Milad Karimi a tough task. That 14.133, an improvement from qualification. Stage is beautifully set for the ceremonies. Looks lovely in the arena. The victory ceremony for the men's floor competition at the Cairo World Cup.
I'd like to welcome our medal presenters.
نرحب أيضا بالسادة الضيوف لتسليم الميداليات للأبطال.
From Ukraine.
Ukraine's Nazar Ciperni, the winner of the bronze medal. Yet again, he's on a World Cup floor podium. It really has been so regularly a feature of medal races this season across several apparatus. Edi Penev, the Bulgarian, knew straight after his performance that he delivered something special. It was confident, it was accurate, and the reward is a silver medal, one better than he achieved in the Cairo World Cup last year. But he is always so hard to beat in a World Cup floor final. The gold medalist in Cottbus, the gold medalist in Doha, and the gold medalist in Cairo. All over the world, it's Milad Karimi who takes centre stage.
الميدالية الفضية تقدم بتسليمها السيدة ياسين سميرة لسان عضو المكتب التنفيذي من الاتحاد الافريقي للقفاز. أما الميدالية البرونزية تقدم بتسليمها الدكتور على حامد عضو مجلس إدارة الاتحاد المصري للقفاز.
And in just a moment, we will have the national anthem of Kazakhstan. sounds of Menin Kazakhstanim, the national anthem of Kazakhstan.
شكرا للاعبين.
And there they are, the medalists in the men's floor competition at the Cairo World Cup.